Hi, Mrs. Jeffers here. Today I want to talk to you about including others, even if they may seem a little bit different than you. I'm going to read you the story of the legend of Spookley, the square pumpkin. One day in the pumpkin patch, the strangest little pumpkin hatched. Spookley wasn't like his friends. Where they had curves, he had ends. Spookley was different. He was odd. He was rare. Spookley the pumpkin wasn't round. He was square. While the round pumpkins had fun rolling along, poor Spookley sat there shaped all wrong. He tried and tried with all his might, but he couldn't budge. He just sat tight. The other pumpkins teased him because he was square. Spookley wished he was round and could roll everywhere. That is, until one night when they all discovered it's fine to be round when the weather is fair, but there are times it's better to be a square. Halloween was just a day away when a mighty storm blew across the bay. It tossed the round pumpkins to and fro. It snapped their vines, then off they'd go, bouncing left, slamming right, banging, bashing. What a sight! Spookley sat there filled with fright, but glad to be a square that night. Suddenly, the fence gave way. 3 pumpkins rolled out and into the bay. Spookley knew what must be done. It was up to him. He was the one. He teetered, he tottered, he tipped, he tried, and finally flipped. He was on his side. Again he tipped, again he flopped, again he flipped, and then he stopped. Right in the gap where the fence had snapped, he blocked the way. The hole was capped. All the pumpkins shouted, "Hooray! Spookley the square pumpkin had saved the day." Then a pumpkin hit him with a whack. He thought his shell would start to crack. Then another one hit him with a thump, and another one with a smack. Then one by one, a ton of pumpkins piled on the stack with a bang and a bash and a crunch and a crash, and then it all went black. At dawn, when the storm had stopped, the farmer came out and checked his crop. He picked his pumpkins up one by one and laid them out in the warm, dry sun. And when the last one was moved away, the farmer could see what had saved the day. An odd-shaped pumpkin, short and dense, was wedged against the broken fence. Its shell was bruised, its stem was too, but there was brave little Spookley sitting straight and strong and true. Right then and there the farmer knew, of all the seeds he'd ever sown, Spookley's were the most special that had ever grown. And the next year, when it was time to sow, he sowed those seeds in every row. He watered and weeded and watched them grow. And oh, that morning about mid-June, when the pumpkin patch began to bloom, there were tiny pumpkins everywhere, hundreds and hundreds, most of them square. But some were cubes and some rectangular, some were flat and others triangular. There was a bed of bright red ones and 2 rows of blue. There were polka dot pumpkins and rainbow ones too. There were thousands of colors and hundreds of shapes. Oh, what a garden variety makes. Now every year on Halloween, Spookley's patch is quite a scene. People come from far and near to see what wonders grew that year. They stop, they gawk, they gaze, they stare. Then they pick a pumpkin that's round, triangular, or perfectly square. Now you know the story of how Spookley grew. Maybe someday If you tell someone too, they'll go tell someone who go tell another, and maybe one day we all will discover you can't judge a book or a pumpkin by its cover. So I just love that story, and I hope that as I was reading it to you, that you were thinking about how Spookley may have felt. So at the beginning of the story, some of the other pumpkins teased him because he was different. How do you think that that made Spookley feel? I would think that that probably made him feel sad, felt left out. But even though he was hurt by them, he still did what he could to help them. And that is one of the things that we ask from all of our students at Cypress Creek, is to show kindness to others. But we also want to take a moment to let you know what you should do if you think that someone is being unkind to someone else. And so there's 3 steps that I want to talk to you about today. And step number 1 is to speak up. If you see that someone is being unkind to someone else, speak up and say, hey, stop that. That's not very nice. Ask that person who is maybe being left out, hey, come play with me, or come talk to me. We want you to speak up and do something about it. Step 2, we want you to reach out. We want you to reach out and let an adult know. This can be your teacher. This can be a parent. It can be, if you're in the cafeteria, you can let Miss Kelly know. You can let one of the cafeteria workers know. We want you, if you see something going on, to reach out to an adult and let them know what is happening. And then finally, we want you to be a friend. We want you to include others. We want you to show kindness. We want you to be a friend to everyone. Now, if you think that you see bullying, we need you to do those steps. Maybe there's been a time where you've seen bullying and wanted to stop it, but you weren't sure what you could do. Lots of kids have felt that way too. Know this, if you see bullying happening, there are so many ways that you can help stop it, and here are a few. So you can ask the kid who is bullying to stop. You know, sometimes kids don't realize what they are doing is hurting someone else. So if you go up in a kind way and you let them know, hey, that wasn't very nice, they might stop and think about their choices and do something different. They might say, oh, I didn't realize that I was doing that I was being mean, that I was hurting someone's feelings, and they can work on it. This is definitely an important thing that you can do, is to not join in. Someone who bullies often likes an audience, and it makes it more fun for them. So if you ignore the bullying and you don't give them that attention, it shows them that you do not like it. So you need to make sure that you are not joining in, that you're not laughing, that you're not watching that kind of behavior happen. You can help them to get away from the situation. Sometimes it's easy for someone to be bullied when there's no one that's there to stick up for them. So be a friend, you know, walk with that person, play with that person, let them know that they are not alone. And most importantly, what you can do is tell an adult. Adults do care. They're the ones that can enforce the rules. They're the ones that can keep an eye out. It can always be done while the bullying is happening or afterwards. Remember, telling is not tattling. You are doing it out of safety. Bullying is not allowed here at Cypress Creek. So if you think it is happening, it is your job to be an upstander. And that is a word that means to stand up for someone else. Just like if you were being bullied, you would want someone to stand up for you. If you think it's happening to someone else, we want you to make sure that you are an upstander and you stand up for them. You all can change what is happening. Every small act helps to make a difference. When kids stand together against bullying, you will help make your classroom, your school, where you live, and even the world a better place. So what we want you to do, if you see bullying, we want you to speak up. We want you to reach out, and we want you to be a friend. What can you do to help make Cypress Creek a kinder place? It starts with you. Have a great day.